Please, I can't feel my hands anymore. Please help me.
A trembling voice of an old woman. Stuck on Highway 9 for over an hour. No one stopped. Car after car sped past as if she were invisible. Then, two small flashlights shone on her.
Liv, there's someone out there. I see her.
A 22-year-old girl, $9 in her pocket, an eviction notice at home. The boy beside her, 14 years old, tattered shoes, wearing her deceased mother's hoodie.
We don't even have money for food for tomorrow.
Her younger brother whispered.
There's someone in that car!
A gasp.
Yes. Let's go. Ma'am? Can you hear us? We're here. You'll be all right.
What these two children did next, empty-handed in the freezing darkness, changed their lives forever. Now let me take you back. Before the SUVs, before any of this. Let me show you who these two kids are. 5:15 in the morning, Ridgemont, Pennsylvania. Olivia Turner's alarm goes off. Not that she needed it. She'd been staring at the ceiling since 4. 4 hours of sleep. Double shift yesterday, another double today. She gets up, puts water on the stove, measures out oatmeal, same breakfast 3 days in a row. Opens her phone while the water heats, checks her bank account. $9.02. She stares at it for a second, then scrolls down. A text from the landlord's office, sent at 11 p.m. last night. Final notice, vacate by the 15th. She reads it twice, locks the phone, puts it face down on the counter, keeps moving. Down the hall, Caleb is already awake, but Olivia doesn't know that. He's in the bathroom, with the door closed, sitting on the edge of the tub, doing something he's done every morning for 2 weeks. Stuffing folded newspaper into his shoes. The soles have holes, both of them. He found out when the rain soaked through one morning on his walk to school. He didn't tell Olivia. He'll never tell Olivia, because he knows exactly what she'd do. She'd skip meals for a week to buy him new ones. She'd give him the shoes off her own feet and walk barefoot if she had to. That's his sister. So he hides it. He comes out, she hands him a bowl. He sits down and eats without a word. She watches him. His hoodie. Oversized, faded, a women's cut. It was their mother's. Grace Turner wore it every Sunday morning making pancakes. Caleb hasn't taken it off in 2 years. Sleeps in it some nights. It's the only piece of her he has left. They head out together. Walking to Caleb's bus stop, they pass Mrs. Dolores Graham's house. Trash cans knocked over by the wind, garbage spilling across the sidewalk. Olivia grabs one can, Caleb grabs the other. He picks up the torn bag, ties it shut, sets it inside. No discussion, no pause, just done. At the bus stop, a younger kid, maybe 10, is sitting on the bench crying. Forgot his lunch money. Caleb looks at Olivia. She gives a small nod. He opens his backpack, pulls out half the peanut butter sandwich she packed for him this morning, hands it to the kid. Here, I'm not that hungry. He is. He absolutely is. Olivia doesn't praise him. She just puts her hand on his shoulder. He learned it from her. She learned it from their mama. Now, Olivia's day. First job, home health aide for Mrs. Graham, 90 years old, lives alone in a quiet house on the other side of town. Olivia bathes her, changes her sheets, makes her lunch, then reads to her, not because the job requires it, but because Mrs. Graham's eyes light up when she hears a story. Today, she spills soup on herself, starts crying from embarrassment. Olivia doesn't flinch. Happens to me all the time. Let me grab you a fresh shirt. She cleans her up, tells her a funny story about Caleb to make her laugh, stays 20 minutes past her shift. Unpaid. Caleb's day. 2-mile walk home from school, shoes wet from the inside. He stops at the public library. There's a Python programming book on the reference shelf. Can't check it out. So he sits at the table and copies code into a notebook, line by line, by hand. The librarian lets him use a computer for 30 minutes. He's building a calculator app. It's small, it's simple. He's proud of it. He has no one to show it to, except his sister. Evening. Olivia's second job, the laundromat on 5th Street. Caleb walks there to take her home. The car needs gas, and $9 won't stretch to cover gas and food both. A single mom walks in with 3 kids and 4 bags of laundry. One kid screaming. Caleb crouches down, makes a face, gets the baby laughing in 10 seconds flat. Walking home. Cold. Liv, you know what Mama used to say? Which thing? If you can help, you help. That's the whole thing. You remember that? I remember everything she said. Silence. 2 kids, $9, newspaper in his shoes, a thin coat on her back, and a dead woman's voice still guiding both of them home. That evening, Olivia and Caleb turned the corner to their building and stopped. A paper was taped to their door. Not a note, not a letter. Legal paperwork. The kind with small print and a court stamp at the top. Olivia pulled it off, read it standing in the hallway under the one flickering light that still worked. The bulb she'd replaced herself last week. Ridgemont Holdings, LLC. Gerald Whitfield, owner. The notice cited 3 code violations. A cracked window, an unauthorized occupant, that meant Caleb, and failure to maintain premises. Her hand started shaking. She'd never missed rent. Not once. Not even the month their mother died, and she had to borrow from Brenda to cover it. The cracked window? It cracked 2 winters ago. She reported it. Nobody came. The unauthorized occupant? Her 14-year-old brother, her only family. And failure to maintain premises? She was the one who patched the ceiling with duct tape. She was the one who changed the hallway bulbs. She was the one who taped cardboard over the drafty spots in Caleb's room so he wouldn't shiver at night. She maintained a building the landlord abandoned. Caleb came up behind her, read it over her shoulder. Quiet. His backpack still on. Notebook full of hand-copied code tucked under his arm. What do we do? Not what do you do? What do we do? He's 14, and he's already her partner in everything. Olivia looked at him. Something shifted in her eyes. Not fear. Something harder. Something their mother would have recognized. We fight. How? She pulled out her phone, opened the camera. We document everything, every crack, every leak, every roach. If they're going to say we broke this place, we prove they're lying. Caleb nodded, pulled out his own phone, a hand-me-down with a cracked screen and a battery that dies at 40%. They went room by room. Olivia photographed the mold spreading across the bathroom ceiling like a dark map of neglect. The rust-colored water that came out of the kitchen faucet. The hole in the baseboard where the mice came through. Caleb filmed the heater, stood in front of it, hit record, and spoke clearly. This heater has been broken since October. We reported it 3 times. November 2nd, November 19th, December 5th. Nobody came. He listed the dates from memory. No notes. No hesitation. Calm. Precise. 14 years old. Later that night, kitchen table. Caleb doing homework. Olivia calculating bills on the back of an envelope. The only sound was the faucet dripping, the one Whitfield never fixed. Long silence. Then Caleb said it, quietly, without looking up. If we lose this place, where do we go? Olivia's pen stopped. We're not losing this place. But if we do... Caleb, look at me. He looked up, eyes steady, trying to be brave. 14 and trying so hard to be brave. Mama left us two things, each other and the way she raised us. Nobody can evict that. You hear me? He nodded, went back to his homework. But under the table, his foot, the one with newspaper stuffed in the shoe, tapped against the floor. Nervous, steady, like a heartbeat he couldn't quiet. A knock at the door. Brenda Holloway, 73 years old. Same building, same hallway, 30 years in the same apartment. She was holding the same eviction notice. Her hands were trembling. Her eyes were red. Olivia didn't say a word. She opened the door wider and let her in. Caleb was already up, heading to Brenda's cabinet because he knew where she kept her tea. He'd been making it for her for months. They're pushing all of us out, babies, Brenda said, her voice cracked. Whitfield did the same thing to 2 other buildings, fabricated violations, paid off the housing inspector. Nobody fought him. He's got money. He's got connections. And we got nothing. Olivia sat beside her, let her finish, then pulled out her phone and showed her the photos. We're documenting everything, Miss Brenda. You should too. Caleb came back with the tea, set it in front of Brenda gently, then sat down beside her and helped her figure out her phone camera. Patiently, quietly. The way you teach someone who matters to you. They spent an hour in Brenda's apartment, photographing cracks, filming the broken radiator, noting every date, every report, every ignored request. When they finished, Brenda stood in her kitchen doorway, watching these 2 kids, one holding a cup of tea he made, one still taking pictures, and said softly, "Lord, your mama is watching you right now, and she is so proud." Caleb's eyes went wet. He turned away fast. Olivia saw it. She always sees it. Now let me take you to that night. The night everything changed. Worst snowstorm Ridgemont had seen in 20 years. Olivia picked Caleb up from the library at closing. He'd been copying code until the librarian turned the lights off. On the passenger seat, a plastic bag with rice, beans, bread, and tucked under the bread, a cupcake. $3. Tomorrow was Caleb's 15th birthday. It was the only gift she could afford. He didn't know about it. Highway 9. Rural stretch. No streetlights. The windshield wipers couldn't keep up. Olivia's knuckles were white on the wheel. The heater pushed out a thin breath of warm air that barely reached their knees. Caleb had his hands tucked inside Mama's hoodie, balled into fists for warmth. Then, hazard lights, blinking orange through the white wall of snow. A silver sedan, half in a ditch, tilted, still. Olivia slowed. Caleb saw it too. They looked at each other. One look. Liv, someone's out there. I see her. We don't even have money for food tomorrow. Caleb, there's a person in that car. A breath. Yeah, let's go. They grabbed the flashlights from the glove box, 2 small ones, barely bright, and stepped out. The wind hit like a wall. Olivia pulled her thin coat tight. Caleb zipped Mama's hoodie to his chin. They walked toward the sedan, a quarter-mile through the snow. Caleb moved ahead, breaking the wind for his sister. He's 14. He's protecting her. They reached the car. Olivia wiped the window with her sleeve and looked in. Eleanor Crawford, 78 years old, alone. She'd been driving herself to a late pharmacy pickup, insisted on independence, wouldn't let anyone drive her. Her phone had died an hour ago. She'd tried to flag down cars. No one stopped. Not one. Her hands were blue-white, Her lips cracked. She couldn't grip the door handle anymore. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused. Early signs of hypothermia. She'd stopped shivering, which meant her body was giving up. She thought she was going to die on this road tonight. Then she heard a knock on the glass. 2 flashlights, 2 faces. Caleb opened the door. "Ma'am, we're here. You're going to be okay." Eleanor looked at them. Tears she couldn't feel anymore ran down her face. "Please, I can't feel my hands." Olivia didn't hesitate. She took off her coat, the only coat she owned, and wrapped it around Eleanor's shoulders. "You need this more than me, ma'am." "No, child, you'll freeze." "I'll be moving. You're sitting still. Keep it." Caleb saw Eleanor's legs trembling. He looked down at Mama's hoodie. His hand paused on the zipper, just for a second. He looked at the faded fabric, remembered Sunday mornings, pancakes, her laugh. Then he looked at Eleanor, shaking, alone, afraid. He unzipped it, pulled it off, wrapped it around Eleanor's legs. "Here, this'll help." "Son, that's your—" "It's okay." His voice was quiet, steady. "She'd want you to have it right now." She, his mother. He's giving away the last piece of her to a stranger in a blizzard. He's 14 years old. Olivia checked the trunk. No jack. No tools. Eleanor's son's staff had reorganized the car and removed them. She walked back to their car, a quarter mile, in a long-sleeved shirt, through a blizzard. Caleb stayed with Eleanor, talked to keep her conscious. "What's your name, ma'am?" "Eleanor." "That's a pretty name. My mama's name was Grace." He held her hand. "Stay with me, Miss Eleanor. My sister's coming back. She's going to fix this." Eleanor gripped his fingers. His were ice. Hers were worse. "Why did you stop?" she whispered. Caleb looked at her like the question didn't make sense. "Because you needed help." Olivia came back with a jack and lug wrench. A quarter mile through the blizzard. Long-sleeve shirt soaked through. Snow in her hair. She knelt beside the flat tire. Caleb was already there. Flashlight angled at the wheel. They didn't speak. Olivia worked the jack. Caleb loosened the lug nuts with bare hands. His fingers went white in 5 minutes. He blew on them, kept going. Snow piled on his back, just a t-shirt now. Olivia's arms shook as she cranked the jack higher. 35 minutes. A 22-year-old in a wet shirt. A 14-year-old in a t-shirt with holes in his shoes, kneeling in the snow for a stranger. When the spare was on, Olivia stood, her knees almost buckled. She walked to the driver's side, reached into her pocket, pulled out a granola bar, her dinner tonight, the last one. "Eat this, ma'am. You need energy to drive." Caleb came back with a thermos of hot water. "Drink, Miss Eleanor. Warm up first." Eleanor grabbed both their hands, hers warm now, wrapped in their coat, their hoodie. Theirs were ice. "Children, you're freezing. Please, let me give you something, money, anything." Olivia pulled her hand back gently. "We're okay. Just get home safe." Caleb. "And ma'am, don't drive alone in this weather. Promise me." Eleanor, tears running. "I promise. What are your names?" "Olivia and Caleb Turner." "I won't forget you. I swear to God." Caleb smiled, lips almost blue. "You don't have to remember us, Miss Eleanor. Just get home." They walked back to their car. Olivia wrapped her arm around Caleb. His teeth were chattering so hard she could feel it through her sleeve. They got in, heater on full. It barely helped. Huddled together, waiting to stop shaking, Caleb pulled the grocery bag onto his lap. saw the cupcake. "What's this?" "Nothing." He looked at it, then at her. Tomorrow was his birthday. She spent $3 she didn't have and just gave away her coat. He put his head on her shoulder. "We're gonna be okay, Liv." She held him. "Yeah, we are." They drove home, shivering, together. Eleanor pulled into her driveway 40 minutes later. Large house, stone walls, warm light, a world away from Highway 9. She sat in the car for a long time, wearing Olivia's thin coat, Caleb's hoodie folded on her lap. She held it the way you hold something holy. She went inside, called her son. Senator Douglas Crawford answered on the second ring. Eleanor was crying before she spoke. "Douglas, I was on Route 9 for over an hour. My phone died. My hand stopped working. I couldn't open the door. I was ready to close my eyes. I thought I was going to die on that road." A breath. Then 2 kids appeared out of the snow. A girl, 22, and a boy, couldn't be older than 15. The girl took off her coat and put it on me. Her only coat, Douglas. Then the boy unzipped his hoodie and wrapped it around my legs. He told me it was his dead mother's hoodie, the only thing he has left of her. And he gave it to me. A stranger. Her voice broke. They changed my tire together, on their knees, 35 minutes. Their hands were blue. The boy's shoes had holes. I saw when he knelt down. Holes. And he was smiling at me. Smiling. They gave me their food, their water, everything. When I begged them to take something, anything, they said no. Just said, "Get home safe." Silence. I've lived 78 years. Your father sat on the federal bench. I've met senators, judges, governors. I have never met 2 people with hearts like those children. Douglas was quiet for a long time. "What are their names?" "Olivia and Caleb Turner." He called Patty Moore. "Find them." Within hours, Olivia Turner, 22, Caleb Turner, 14. 2 jobs, 1 income, facing eviction. $9 combined. Douglas read the file, looked at the dining table where his mother had placed 2 things, carefully, like evidence in a trial. A thin second-hand coat, a faded women's hoodie. Everything 2 kids owned, given away in a blizzard. "Get the cars, I'm going myself." Next morning, 10 black SUVs on Maple Street. Now the audience knows why. Patty Moore knocked. Olivia opened the door. Behind her, Caleb. Long-sleeve shirt, no hoodie. Douglas stepped forward. In his hands, Olivia's coat and Caleb's hoodie. "Your names are Olivia and Caleb Turner. My mother is Eleanor Crawford. Last night, you stopped in a blizzard and gave her everything you had. She told me you saved her life. She asked me to return these and to thank you, both of you." Caleb saw the hoodie. His eyes went wide. He took it, held it to his chest, pressed his face into the fabric. For 1 second, he wasn't a brave kid anymore. He was a boy who missed his mom. Olivia put her hand on his back, looked at Douglas. "She didn't have to send all this. We just changed a tire." "Ma'am, my mother said she was ready to die on that road. She said your brother gave her his dead mother's hoodie. She said you gave her the coat off your back. That's not just a tire. You saved her life." He asked if he could come in. Olivia hesitated. The apartment was small, broken, embarrassing. But she stepped aside. Douglas sat on a folding chair, looked around. The leak, the duct tape on the ceiling, the eviction notice on the counter, the oatmeal boxes stacked by the stove, Caleb's school bag on the floor, the notebook full of hand-copied codes sticking out. He saw how they lived. A senator who writes housing policy, sitting inside the thing he legislates about. What's this? He was looking at the eviction notice. Olivia didn't answer right away. Caleb did. Sir, our landlord is lying. He says we violated building code, but he's the one who won't fix anything. We have pictures. I have video. Douglas looked at this 14-year-old. Shoes with holes, no hoodie, hand-copied code in a notebook, standing straight, speaking clearly. Olivia, we didn't help your mother to get anything back. We helped because that's what our mama taught us. If you can help, you help. That's the whole thing. Douglas nodded slowly, made a call, connected them with a pro bono tenant rights attorney. Not a favor, not charity, a resource they were always entitled to but never had access to. Before he left, he stopped at the door, looked at Caleb. Your mother raised two remarkable people. Caleb held the hoodie a little tighter. Thank you, sir. She'd be happy you brought it back. For the first time in weeks, they could breathe. The attorney filed a motion. Eviction delayed 2 weeks. Not a victory, a pause. But after months of drowning, even treading water felt like a miracle. Small things started to shift. Caleb aced a math test, first perfect score all semester. He came home grinning, held up the paper like a trophy. Olivia stuck it on the fridge with a piece of tape. Brenda baked them a sweet potato pie and knocked on their door holding it with both hands. For the two kids who never stop giving. Olivia's boss at the laundromat gave her an extra shift. $40 more this month. She almost cried in the break room. Didn't. Saturday morning. Caleb took $2 from the jar on the counter, his share of the tips Olivia brought home, and walked to the thrift store on Greenfield. Came back with a pair of used sneakers. White, clean, no holes. He put them on the kitchen floor and stared at them like they were brand new Jordans. Later that day, Olivia took out the trash. She saw Caleb's old shoes in the bin, picked one up, turned it over. Newspaper, layers of it, folded tight, pressed into the sole. She pulled it out, 1 layer, 2, 3, weeks of newspaper. He'd been doing this every morning. Every single morning, so she wouldn't know, so she wouldn't worry, so she wouldn't skip a meal to fix it. She stood in that hallway holding her little brother's shoe, and she didn't make a sound. She just closed her eyes, held it, then put it back in the trash, went inside, and hugged him for a long time without saying why. He didn't ask. That evening, Eleanor called. She talked to Olivia for 20 minutes, then asked to speak to Caleb. They stayed on the phone for almost an hour. Eleanor asked about his coding. He told her everything. The library books, the notebook, the calculator app he built. You teach yourself from books you can't even check out? Yes, ma'am, reference only, so I copy it by hand. Eleanor went quiet. Caleb, your mama was a genius. Because she raised one. He laughed. Then she asked about coding camp. $400, Miss Eleanor, maybe next year. Eleanor said nothing, but she remembered. It lasted 9 days. The calm. 9 days of breathing. Then Gerald Whitfield found out a United States Senator's office had been asking questions about Ridgemont Gardens. And Gerald Whitfield did what men like him always do when they feel the ground shift beneath them. He didn't retreat. He attacked. He called Derek Saunders, the city housing inspector who'd been on his payroll for 5 years, and told him to move fast. Saunders produced an emergency inspection report, backdated, stamped, signed. The report declared Ridgemont Gardens structurally compromised and recommended immediate evacuation. Not just Olivia's unit, the entire building. Every tenant received a 72-hour evacuation notice. 72 hours to pack up your life and leave. Families who'd lived there for decades. Seniors with nowhere else to go. Single mothers. Children. Whitfield wasn't just pushing back. He was burning it down. Brenda was the first to knock on Olivia's door. She was holding the notice in one hand and a framed photograph in the other. Raymond, her late husband, taken on their wedding day in the hallway downstairs. The same hallway she'd walked through every day for 30 years. She sat on Olivia's couch and held the photo against her chest. I buried Raymond from this apartment. My grandbabies took their first steps in that hallway. 30 years, Olivia. 30 years of my life in these walls. Her voice cracked. And this man wants to throw me out, so he can build luxury condos for people who wouldn't look at me twice on the street. She broke. Not angry, just broken. The kind of crying that doesn't make noise. Olivia sat beside her. Didn't say, it'll be okay. Didn't say anything. Just put her arm around her and held her. Caleb came out of his room, saw Brenda crying, and went straight to the kitchen. Made her tea, set it on the table gently. Then sat on the floor beside her and put his hand on her knee. 3 people in a crumbling apartment, holding on. Then Caleb said something nobody expected. Miss Brenda, I have something. He pulled out his phone, scrolled to a video, hit play. It was the video he'd filmed 3 weeks ago. The heater, working. Caleb's voice narrating the date, the time, the history of ignored maintenance requests. Time-stamped, October 12th. Saunders' report says the building has been structurally compromised for months. But in my video, the heater works fine. On October 12th, everything in our unit was functioning. If the building was already compromised back then, why does my video show the opposite? He looked at Olivia. His report is fake, Liv. The dates don't match. He wrote it after Whitfield decided to evict us, not before. Silence. Brenda stared at him. Olivia stared at him. He's 14, and he just found the crack in Whitfield's entire scheme. Olivia took a breath. We're not done yet. She called Patty Moore, told her everything. The new evacuation order, the fake report, Caleb's video. Patty listened, then went quiet. Olivia, I hear you. I do. But the senator can't publicly intervene in a local housing dispute. It's an election year. His opponents would use it against him. There are protocols, legal boundaries. I'm sorry. Olivia hung up. She sat at the kitchen table. Caleb sat across from her. The lights flickered. They always flickered in this building. The faucet dripped. The heater clicked but didn't turn on. For the first time in this story, neither of them moved. Caleb spoke first. Quiet. Liv, maybe we should just go. Pack what we can. Find somewhere else. Olivia didn't answer. She stared at the eviction notice, then at Caleb's coding notebook on the counter, then at her coat hanging on the back of the door, the coat Douglas returned, the coat she gave away in a blizzard. She was so tired, the kind of tired that lives in your bones. Caleb was tired too. She could see it, the way his shoulders dropped, the way he wasn't sitting up straight anymore. He'd been carrying too much for too long. They both had. The phone rang. Eleanor. Olivia? Is Caleb there? He's here. Put me on speaker. Olivia did. Listen to me, both of you. Douglas told me what happened. I know about the new notice. I know about Patty. And I know you're tired. Olivia's voice was barely there. "Mrs. Crawford, we're tired." "I know you are, sweetheart, both of you. But you're the kind of tired that means you've been carrying too much for too long, not the kind that means you should stop." Caleb, almost a whisper. "Miss Eleanor, our mama used to say something like that too." "Then listen to your mama, and listen to me." Eleanor's voice hardened, not angry, resolved. "Don't you dare quit. You hear me? Don't you dare." The next morning, Eleanor Crawford did something her son's staff begged her not to do. She got in her car and drove to Ridgemont Gardens. 78 years old. Early-stage memory issues she hides from everyone. Driving alone, the thing her family tells her not to do. She did it anyway. Because 3 weeks ago, 2 kids drove through a blizzard to help her, and she's not the kind of woman who forgets. She walked into that building, saw the mold, the broken radiator in the hallway, the flickering lights, the notices taped to every door. She talked to the tenants, listened to their stories, recorded them on her phone, shaky footage, imperfect audio. She's 78 and barely knows how to hold the phone steady, but she did it. She stood in the lobby and said to the tenants gathered around her, "2 kids in this building stopped in a blizzard and saved my life. A boy gave me his dead mother's hoodie to keep me warm. If the world treats people like that this way, then the world is broken, and I intend to fix it." Then she got in her car, called Douglas, and said 6 words that changed everything. "This is your mother speaking. Fix this." He tried to explain. Protocol, optics, election. "I don't care about your election, Douglas. I care about what's right. You fix this, or I will go to every newspaper in this state. And I will bring the hoodie." Douglas Crawford made a decision that night. Not because it was politically safe, not because his advisors approved, because his mother was right, and because 2 kids with $9 and holes in their shoes knelt in a blizzard to save her life, and the system they lived inside was trying to crush them for it. He called the state attorney general's office, requested an independent investigation into Ridgemont Holdings LLC and the Ridgemont City Housing Inspection Office. He didn't hold a press conference, didn't make a speech. He made a phone call through proper channels, but with the kind of urgency that only comes when a man realizes his mother almost died on a road no one stopped for. Simultaneously, the pro bono attorney filed a countersuit on behalf of every tenant in Ridgemont Gardens. The charges? Fraudulent inspections, habitability violations by the landlord, and retaliatory eviction. The investigation moved fast. Subpoenas went out. Financial records were pulled. And what they found was exactly what Brenda and Olivia already knew, just dressed up in numbers now. Derek Saunders had been signing fabricated inspection reports for Whitfield's properties for over 5 years. Not occasionally, routinely, building after building. The same pattern: fake violations, forced evictions, property flips. And in return, regular payments from Whitfield to Saunders run through a shell company and labeled as consulting fees. 5 years. Exposed by a paper trail that nobody had bothered to look at. Because nobody had a reason to look. Until now. And then came the evidence that changed everything. Olivia's photos. The ones she took on her phone that first night after the eviction notice. Time-stamped, geotagged. Every image dated and location verified by the phone's metadata. Mold on the bathroom ceiling. Rust-colored water from the faucet, mice holes in the baseboard. Every photo proved the same thing. The building's problems were caused by the landlord's neglect, not by the tenants. And Caleb's video. October 12th. The heater running. His calm voice narrating dates of ignored reports. That 14-year-old's footage directly contradicted Saunders' emergency report, which claimed the building had been structurally compromised for months. The video proved the timeline was impossible. Saunders wrote his report after Whitfield ordered the eviction, then backdated it to make it look routine. The case was built on evidence gathered by two people, a 22-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy, with cracked phones and no legal training, no connections, no money. Just the instinct to document the truth, and the stubbornness to keep it. The attorney told Patty Moore, after reviewing the file, "I've been doing this for 22 years. These two kids built a stronger evidence package than most paralegals I've worked with. The girl was methodical. The boy was precise. Every photo labeled, every video narrated. They didn't know they were building a legal case. They just knew someone was lying about them, and they refused to let it stand." Patty looked at her. "Yeah, that seems to be who they are." The attorney asked both Turners to come in and give formal statements. A conference room downtown, big table, legal pads, a court reporter. Olivia was nervous. She'd never been in a room like this. But she sat down, folded her hands, and spoke the way she does everything, clearly, directly, without exaggeration. She walked through the timeline, every maintenance request she'd filed, every call that went unanswered, every repair she'd made herself because no one else would. Then it was Caleb's turn. He sat in a chair that was too big for him. His feet didn't quite touch the floor right. He explained the video, when he filmed it, why he filmed it, what it proved. The attorney asked, "Caleb, why did you decide to record the heater that day?" Caleb thought for a second. "Because my sister taught me. When people lie about you, you keep the truth somewhere safe." The room went still. The attorney looked at Patty. Patty looked at the attorney. Then at Caleb, this kid in thrift store sneakers who'd just delivered the most quotable line anyone in that room had heard in years. Nobody said anything for a moment. Nobody needed to. The countersuit was filed that afternoon. 36 pages, 14 exhibits, 2 key witnesses, Olivia and Caleb Turner. The two people Gerald Whitfield thought he could push out with a piece of paper and a corrupt inspector. He was wrong. Courtroom 4B, County Courthouse, 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. Judge Catherine Brennan presiding, gray hair, reading glasses, the kind of judge who doesn't talk much and misses nothing. On the left side, Gerald Whitfield and his attorney, tailored suits, leather briefcases, the confidence of men who've done this before and won every time. On the right side, the tenant's attorney. And beside her, Olivia Turner, Caleb Turner, and Brenda Holloway. Olivia in a second-hand blazer she found at the same thrift store where Caleb got his sneakers. Caleb in a clean white shirt Brenda had ironed for him that morning. She pressed it twice. Told him a man shows up to court looking like he respects it. Behind them, in the back row, sat Eleanor Crawford. Simple dress, hands folded in her lap. And on her lap, Caleb's mama's hoodie. She didn't bring it as evidence. She brought it as a reminder of who this case was really about. Whitfield's attorney went first, calm, practiced. He presented the code violations, the cracked window, the unauthorized occupant, the failure to maintain. Then he entered Saunders' inspection report into evidence. Building structurally compromised, immediate evacuation recommended. He made it sound routine, like paperwork, like the system working exactly as it should. Judge Brennan reviewed the documents, no expression. Then the tenant's attorney stood. "Your Honor, we'd like to present counter-evidence." She started with the financial records. Bank transfers from Whitfield to Saunders, 5 years of payments labeled consulting fees. She laid them out clearly, exposed every transaction. Then she presented the state attorney general's letter confirming an active fraud investigation into Ridgemont Holdings LLC and the City Housing Inspection Office. Whitfield shifted in his chair. Then came the photos. Olivia's photos. Time-stamped, geotagged, mold on the ceiling, broken fixtures, rust-colored water, mice. Every image proving the same thing. The building's deterioration was caused by the landlord's neglect, not the tenants. Then came the video, Caleb's video, October 12th, the heater running, his voice, calm, young, precise, narrating dates of ignored maintenance requests. The attorney looked at the judge. Your Honor, Mr. Saunders' report dated last week states this building has been structurally compromised for months. This video, filmed on October 12th by a 14-year-old tenant, shows the heater functioning normally. The report's timeline is fabricated. The inspection never happened. This eviction is fraud. Whitfield's attorney asked for a recess. Judge Brennan looked at him over her glasses. Denied. We're going to finish this. The tenant's attorney turned to Olivia. Ms. Turner, would you like to address the court? Olivia stood. She didn't rush. She didn't look at Whitfield. She looked at the judge. Your Honor, I pay my rent. Every month. I take care of my brother. I take care of our home, even when our landlord won't. My brother patches the ceiling with duct tape. I change the hallway light bulbs. I carry my neighbor's groceries up 3 flights of stairs because the elevator has been broken for 2 years. And Mr. Whitfield's company filed a report saying we failed to maintain the premises. She paused. Let it land. The violations in that report are real, Your Honor, but they're his violations, not ours. He let this building fall apart. Then he blamed us for living in it. Her voice didn't waver. That's not a code violation. That's a con. Silence. Complete silence. The attorney turned to Caleb. Would you like to add anything? Caleb stood up. The youngest person in the room by 30 years. His shirt was crisp, Brenda's iron. His sneakers were second-hand, $2. His hands were steady. Your Honor, my name is Caleb Turner. I'm 14. He took a breath. I filmed the heater in our apartment on October 12th because we reported it broken 3 times and nobody came to fix it. When I filmed it, it was working. In Mr. Saunders' report from last week, he says the heater has been broken for months and the building is structurally compromised. He looked directly at the judge. One of us is telling the truth, and one of us is lying. I have the timestamp. He has a check from Mr. Whitfield. The courtroom didn't move. Nobody coughed. Nobody shifted. Even Whitfield's attorney had stopped writing. Judge Brennan looked at Caleb for a long moment. Then she looked at Saunders' report. Then at the financial records. Then back at Caleb. She ruled. All evictions dismissed. Gerald Whitfield ordered to complete all habitability repairs within 60 days or face court-appointed receivership. Derek Saunders referred to the state attorney general for criminal fraud charges. Rent increases across all Whitfield-owned properties frozen pending investigation. Whitfield stood, walked toward the exit, past Olivia and Caleb on his way out. He didn't look at them. Outside the courthouse, the air was cold and clean. Olivia and Caleb stood on the steps. Brenda was beside them, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. The attorney was on the phone. Then Eleanor appeared. She walked up to them slowly. She looked at Olivia first, hugged her, tight, long, real. Then she turned to Caleb, put both hands on his face, looked him in the eyes. Your mama is so proud of you, she whispered. Both of you. Caleb's chin trembled. He pressed his lips together, nodded, couldn't speak. Eleanor pulled him in and held him, the way a grandmother holds a child who's been strong for too long. Brenda put her arm around Olivia. 4 people on the courthouse steps. Nobody talked. They didn't need to. Later that week, Senator Douglas Crawford held a press conference. Housing fraud reform, new legislation targeting corrupt inspection practices, policy language, bill numbers, the kind of thing that fills a news cycle and fades. But at the very end, he stopped reading from his notes, looked up, looked directly into the camera, and said something that wasn't on any script. Kindness without witnesses is the only kind that counts. He let it sit, then continued. I know that because 2 young people showed it to my mother on the worst night of the year. They didn't know who she was. They didn't care. A 22-year-old girl took off her only coat in a blizzard and put it on a stranger. And her 14-year-old brother, this child, took off his mother's hoodie, his late mother's hoodie, the only thing he had left of her. And he wrapped it around a woman he'd never met because he said, she would have wanted you to have it. His voice dropped. That is kindness. Not the kind you perform for cameras, the kind you carry in your bones. Those 2 kids didn't change a tire that night. They changed a lot more than that. He folded his notes, stepped away from the podium. He didn't name them. They asked him not to. 2 months later, Ridgemont Gardens looked different. New heaters in every unit, mold remediated, elevator running for the first time in 2 years, hallway lights, all of them working. Brenda had new windows. She hung yellow curtains the day they were installed. Said Raymond always liked yellow. She waved at Olivia from her doorway. They thought they could run us out, baby. Look at us still here. Caleb carried her groceries up. Some things never change. One evening, Patty Moore called Olivia. There was a federal housing assistance program, the Stable Foundations Initiative, connected to the senator's housing reform legislation. Subsidized apartments for families who met specific criteria. Single guardian households, demonstrated community contribution, income below a certain threshold. This isn't a favor, Olivia. This program existed before Douglas ever met you. You qualify. You always qualified. You just never knew it was there. Olivia was quiet for a long time. This isn't because of Mrs. Crawford. Pull up the website. Read the criteria. You'll see your own life on that page. Olivia did. She read every line. Single guardian under 25, raising a minor sibling, income below the threshold, community engagement. She qualified on every count. She looked at Caleb. He was standing in the kitchen doorway, listening. Liv? That's real? She applied that night. Caleb helped her fill out the forms. 3 weeks later, approved. A clean 2-bedroom apartment in Glenwood Heights. Good school district. Heat that works. Rent at 30% of her income. Less than she'd been paying at Ridgemont for a place that didn't leak. Moving day. Caleb walked through every room, touched the walls, opened the closet, stood in the bedroom doorway, his bedroom, his first bedroom ever, and just looked at it. Then he took Mama's hoodie off, hung it on the back of the desk chair, like she was sitting there with him. That same week, 2 envelopes arrived. Caleb, full scholarship to a summer coding academy. Eleanor's recommendation letter. I am writing on behalf of a remarkable young man who gave a stranger the most precious thing he owned on the coldest night of the year. Not because anyone asked, because that's who he is. Olivia, community college scholarship through a housing advocacy foundation. Not charity, recognition. Caleb hugged her, quiet, then said, You always help everybody, Liv, and you taught me to do the same. Somebody finally helped us back. That Sunday, they visited Eleanor. Tea on the porch, Caleb wearing Mama's hoodie. Eleanor smiled at it. I still think about that night. The snow, your hands, that hoodie. Caleb, I'd do it again, Miss Eleanor. Eleanor, I know you would. That's what terrifies me and gives me hope at the same time. Olivia sipped her tea. We just changed a tire, Mrs. Crawford. Eleanor looked at both of them. This girl who gave her coat. This boy who gave his mother's hoodie. No, sweethearts, you changed a lot more than that. So, where are they now? Olivia enrolled in community college that fall. Social work. She still works weekends at the laundromat. Says she likes it there. Says it keeps her honest. Caleb went to coding camp. Built an app that maps habitability violations in rental properties. Tenants can upload photos, tag locations, track landlord responses. His school featured it at the district tech fair. Eleanor sat in the front row, clapped louder than anyone. Brenda Holloway still lives in Ridgemont Gardens. She bakes the Turner's sweet potato pie every Sunday and drives it to Glenwood Heights herself. Gerald Whitfield's properties were placed under court-appointed management. Derek Saunders was charged with fraud. He took a plea deal. Eleanor, Olivia, and Caleb have dinner together once a month. Eleanor drives over. She always brings dessert. Brenda always brings pie. There's always too much food. Nobody complains. And every night, before bed, Caleb touches Mama's hoodie on the back of his chair. Just once. Then he sits down and codes. Some people ask, was it worth it? Stopping in that blizzard, giving away everything for a stranger. Olivia doesn't answer that question. She just smiles. Caleb answers it every single day. Every time he sits at that desk, every time he touches that hoodie, every time he opens his door, in his room, in his home, and walks into a life his mama always wanted for him.
Can I be honest with you? Most people wait. They say, I will have when I have more money, when my life is stable, when I'm not struggling. But that day never comes. There's always a reason to keep driving, always a reason to say not tonight. But the people who change the world aren't the ones who wait until it's convenient. They're the ones who stop when it costs them something, when it hurts, when they have every reason to say no and they say yes anyway. That's the kind of help that means something, not the kind you give from your extra, the kind you give from your last. And here's what most people don't understand. What you put into the world doesn't disappear. It doesn't. You might not see it come back tomorrow. You might not see it come back this year, but it's come back. It always come back. Maybe not the way you expected. Maybe not from the person you had, but it comes. So stop calculating. Stop asking, what do I get out of this? Just help with whatever you have. Even if it's your last coat, even if it's your last meal, the world has a way of remembering people like that. Like, share, and subscribe. Real stories, real justice, every week. And remember, the good you do when you have nothing is worth more than the good you do when you have everything. Start now with whatever you've got.